Welcome to Six in the Six, episode 7, with the one and only junior soccer goalkeeper from Roberts Wesleyan, Nicolette Knauf. Yay! What is up, Nick?
What's up?
All right, before we get started, we must play the theme music. So hang on, let me find it. All right. All right, that's so the entrance of the queen herself, and of course, goalie world needs shots. So here we are. Um, so long time no see.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's been years.
Oh yeah, long time. So all right, so let's get into this. You are the first soccer person on this.
Woo-hoo.
Yep. We've had some lacrosse, some field hockey, some coaches, and we finally got our time scheduled. So let's find out what's inside that head of yours. Um, so the first soccer goalie, but you played lacrosse.
I did.
So tell me about your lacrosse experience and what got you started in between the pipes of the big goal.
Um, well, my lacrosse experience, I started that. So my freshman year of high school, I was joining track because Mikhail, my twin sister, she was doing lacrosse and we didn't want to do the same thing. We wanted to do different. So I did track for a day and then I went over to lacrosse because the coach was like, "What are you doing over there?" And I joined and I became the captain of the JV team that first week.
All
Yep.
right.
Then I played for started in the midfield, loved it. Then went to forward, loved that even more, a lot less running. Then they put me on defense and I was like, and then I fell in love with defense.
Of course.
Of course. Me and Mikhail playing the twin defenders like always.
Oh, so the twin defenders. So that was there a little bit of sibling rivalry in there?
No, it was just sibling like togetherness.
Sibling kick buttery.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then going into my senior year, I was the captain of the varsity team, and then COVID hit. So,
Yeah, then COVID hit. So one whole day as a track star.
yes. Oh my gosh, yes. It was the best, best one day ever. I sat in the bleachers.
Hold it. Was it the track coach that said, "What are you doing here?" Or was the lacrosse coach that came over and said, "What are you doing here?"
The lacrosse coach, because he was also a teacher at the school, so he knew who I was. And then I played soccer and was very athletic. And then the track coach goes, "Yeah, I knew you were going to do that," because he also knew me.
Oh, so he wasn't upset. He was just kind of expecting it.
Yeah, basically.
All right. So where did soccer, this was during soccer, I assume. So
Right.
how did the soccer adventure start?
Soccer adventure started very young. I mean, that was maybe, well, kindergarten we tried. And me and my twin sister both cried. Then we tried again in first grade because we wanted to. And then from there, we played. And then I can tell you, like, do you want to know when I fell in love with being a goalie?
That's the really interesting question.
I know we were going to get there, but that's all the whole process of me, like at first I played, just little kid stuff, whatever. And then I think around U12, we had like, I was playing goalie in field, just like most kids and stuff like that. And, those pop-up stands with like the dirt jerseys that you can buy and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a goalie jersey, and I was like, I really want that. And my mom was like, I don't have the money for that. So my soccer coach, she bought me the jersey and she said, I'm only going to buy you this if you stick with being a goalie. Like, if you really do love being goalie. And I was like, of course. And then, yeah, from there, I just kind of, fell in love with it.
Nice. I would have thought it was more of the gloves than the jersey that would have got you hooked because you do seem to have a wide variety of gloves in your collection.
I do. I do. I am picky with my gloves.
I think you have to be. It's one of our most important pieces of equipment.
course.
All right. So kindergarten, you and the sister in kindergarten and first grade. So that was probably a battle of who could pick the most dandelions and chase the most butterflies for a year or two.
Oh yeah, pretty much. I mean, the first we walked up and the first stretch was to do a Superman pose, and then we started crying because we thought it was weird.
That's funny.
We just wanted to
Um,
play the real stuff.
right. The stuff you see on TV, all the like diving from side to side and all
Of
that,
course.
hitting the mud puddles. So, what other sports did you dabble in before lacrosse?
Oh, that's a long answer. No. I did tennis for a while. I did that for like growing up. I did softball for a while. I was a catcher, same vibe,
Of
goalie, catcher,
course.
of course. And then let's see. So I did tennis. I did that. I did in middle school, I did wrestling for a year.
Really?
Yeah, did you not know that?
No, I did not know that. So hold on. So this had to be, I mean, girls wrestling is starting to pick up some steam at the high school level. I'm assuming this was before that. So
I'd
you
never
were
wrestled a girl,
so you were doing the Nicolette kick buttery on the boys.
basically. It
How
was
how how was that experience? I mean, did you fare well? Did you
So I did it for a year. I really, or in the winter, I really loved it. I mean, the people were cool and stuff like that, but there were moments of boys will be boys in those senses of like in wrestling. But I met a lot of good people, and it was a lot of fun. I did okay. I only won 2 matches, but I still won, so that's all that
right?
matters really. And then I tried to do it in high school, but I didn't like the coach, and it was just a lot. So I was just like, let me just stick with soccer and lacrosse.
I um I I'm not surprised that you won at least a couple matches and were good at it. You are a little fiery and competitive and like to give everything you've got into what you do. I know this about you, so not surprised.
Yes.
Anyway, we went on a tangent here with wrestling. So what else other than those?
So yeah, so wrestling, and then like I said, tennis. I was pretty good at tennis actually. They wanted me to join the team, and I was like, oh, I'm missing one. I did dance for like 12 years.
Okay. So
You're like, what do you mean you can't dance?
no, no, I did not say that. I know I can't dance. Okay, so dance, like, did you learn all different types or were you more focused in on one type?
Growing up, you always start with the jazz and the tap and the ballet. So I did that like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old, and then I started to go into jazz and hip hop. I was into jazz for a while, and then in my final like 4 years, I was more into hip hop. And I was actually deciding between joining the competitive dance team or playing soccer travel. So yeah, I chose soccer.
And I'm glad you did because I
Mm.
I am not the goalie coach for a competitive dance team. Uh, so it's funny because when I'm hearing these things, the dance and the tennis is really making me think some of that early on experience, multi-sport thing played into your. I mean, you have pretty good footwork, so I'm not surprised you dabbled in those, and then the wrestling. I mean, that explains a lot about you actually. Um,
It does, doesn't
it
it?
does. So that's kind of cool. So what
Yeah.
do you how do you feel some of those sports? I mean, did some of them push you towards soccer? Did some of them kind of make the soccer experience better? How did you utilize some of those sports and, I mean, the skill set you have now?
I think a big part of it is like I did so many things, so it always kept me on my toes and stuff like that, which definitely influences soccer because like in soccer I also played two positions. I was a goalkeeper and a defender. So, I'm always like switching it up and doing new things, and I think trying those sports made me realize I really like the spotlight. Goalies always have the spotlight on the field when, they save your butts in the end, but I really liked that feeling of just like being like in the spotlight and just I like pressure. I don't, but I do, it's like one of those hate relationships. So I think just always like being on my toes, trying different things and stuff made me, realize I like the spotlight dance. You're in a group. Tennis, it's like twos or one and stuff like that. Wrestling, I mean, wrestling's a whole different thing, but lacrosse, like that was a lot. I really loved lacrosse, but being a goalie was just the best.
Yeah, it's funny because you mentioned you like, but you don't like pressure. And one of the things I've noticed about you is under those high pressure situations, and that high pressure situation can be in practice. You tend to push yourself extra hard to get the result you want. So I can kind of see how you have that love hate thing with it.
Yeah,
No, it just it
something.
pushes you, but that's stressful.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love stress though. Hate it but love it. Same thing. I mean, it's it's ongoing. I don't know why I do it to myself, but in the end, I love it though.
Well, I think in the long run that'll pay off for you. So, high school soccer. Talk to me a little bit about that. I saw that you were a 3-year varsity starter. Was that all in goal?
I was a 4-year varsity starter, but he
Four
wanted to put me as
year.
3 years
Oh,
because I played J. Well, no, 3 year is correct because technically, but I played on varsity starting in eighth grade. Technically, I only played like 1 or 2 matches in eighth grade. And then freshman year, I played both JV and varsity. And there's actually a story to why I'm a 3 year, not a 4 year, is I'd played most of the season with JV and then played up on varsity as many games as I could. But once I reached the limit of games I could play, the goalie got injured. The one goalie, they had like a backup that could kind of play. And he calls me down to the field and he's like, "Can you play?" And I was like, "Will I be able to play with JV after this?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm going to stay with my team that I've been with this whole time because they trust me and they appreciate me. And I don't want to just leave them like that." So I said no and I walked away. And yeah, but I mean, I technically could have said yes and been a 4 year starter. So
right, and kind of bailed out on your team.
yeah. And I mean, the parents were like, I was a freshman, and they were like, the fact that she was able to make this decision and say no to that type of thing is just crazy in itself. And like, I wouldn't want to leave. Like, I would, if I was on the team and my goalie just left me and like we still had, 4 or 5 games left, it'd be a lot. So,
Right. I love that. So, yeah, that actually leads into some of the stuff I'll be getting into about you because I think that character piece of you. Um, how long were you a captain of your soccer team? Was that a senior year only or
junior and senior year.
junior and senior?
Yes, I was the captain of the JV team in my freshman year. I played JV in eighth grade. I dabbled in varsity in eighth grade for like 1 or 2 games, but I was a JV captain in freshman year. Then when I was fully on the varsity team, he does juniors and seniors. So that 1 year I was playing, and then junior senior year I was the captain. Yeah.
So you were talking about how you didn't want to bail on your JV team.
Mhm.
Um, you became a captain or you were a captain at that time. I think that kind of having your team's back mentality shows really good leadership.
Mhm.
What other leadership skills were you able to start kind of working on and refining early on as being a captain of those teams, especially being a little younger potentially?
Well, at my high school, we weren't very skilled. I come from a area that is like it's a low income area, so they didn't really have money to pay for travel soccer, so or most sports. So most of our sports were actually pretty bad. We only won like we were I loved my team because in the family aspects we were very close and we loved playing with each other and stuff like that. But in the like realistic aspect, we didn't win much. But I was able to teach them skills from the basics, which is kind of a coaching skill almost. So I was able to do that, but without being like, I'm the best, I'm this. I was like, oh, maybe do it this way. Like, I learned this way. And I think that led into college a little bit. I mean, you know how I talk to like people who like Maddie last year and Courtney this year. I'm always trying to take my own experiences and bounce it off of them and kind of, you know, talk in a goalie aspect that is we're, you know, young females. Like, you know, I know what she's feeling and she knows what I'm feeling. So I feel like in that aspect, I'm always trying to relate and make people feel comfortable
Yeah.
and pushing people to be the best.
Well, I like that, and I've had the opportunity to see you coach. Well, both your peers at the collegiate level, but also helping me out with Denai and some of the littles we work with. I think you're right. You have that coaching ability and quality that I think is really good. You'll make a good coach if you decide to be a coach. Um,
Oh, I plan on it.
Not saying that you're not a good one now, but right. Um,
No, thank you. Thank you.
Um, so that's I love the family aspect of that. So when you started, now let me rephrase that. When did you decide you thought you wanted to play in college, and how did you start progressing on that journey that ended you up at Roberts?
I think I always kind of wanted to play, you know, as high as I could play, like high level as I could play. But, you know, in high school, like as a goalie, I am pretty short. I'm not the shortest. There's definitely shorter goalies out there, but I was always pretty short and like, but I just loved it. So I was like, okay, maybe I can go D3 and just like have fun and, you know, do school, but then play soccer at the same time and stuff like that. But I went to a Mad Dog tournament. That's what we call it. Maddie was at the same one. And I was playing and I was, you know, I'm a vocal keeper. So, and that's what coach likes. And so she emailed the other goalie on my team on accident, thinking it was me. So she sends me the email and she's like, oh, here's this email. And I read it and I was like, okay, like this is interesting. Like I'll check it out and stuff like that. And it was a D2 school. So I was like, this is crazy. Like I didn't even think I'd get someone to ask me from a D3 school. But I never really like I just kind of wanted to play. And then again, she had emailed me and I checked it out and I was like, yeah, this looks good. And I decided to come here. And now at this point, I'm even looking to maybe go past college and play a little bit just because instead of just wanting to play it for fun, I've fallen in love with it so much more. And I just want to keep playing as long as I can.
Yeah, and I would say that love and that passion definitely shows in your kind of the way you approach your training and approach games. And boy, what you lack in height, in stature, you talked about, you make up for in just like pure desire and intensity. So I think that all kind of ties in together there. So that's kind of cool.
Mm.
Um, so you're definitely an individual. You can't when I tell, like, I don't want keepers to be robots. I want them to all be their individuals. You are certainly an individual. Um, how important how important is growing up, and even up to this point, do you feel like kind of expressing that individuality, whether it's through your technical style, whether it's through your voice? How important do you feel that is for our position?
As a person in general, I'm very individual. Like I've always growing up, I've always done things different from other people. Not all the time. I mean, that I'm also, you know, I do things other people do and stuff like that. But I mean, I have this piercing and this piercing, and I do the crazy hair, and I've just always liked to be just kind of different because different's cool. And I think being a goalkeeper, you have to be crazy and you have to be pretty awesome. So I think it's very important because if you're just the same old, it's like, okay, there's a goalie back there, whatever. But if you're loud, if you me, I just come out and attack the ball. I've told you the story. I ran out 30 yards and slide tackled the girl, got knocked out, played the game after that. You gotta be a little crazy because if not, people don't trust you, but not all the time, but people love it. They love to see it and they're like, yeah, you're cool to watch, but you're a lot more fun to watch because I just the passion. It's just passion.
Yeah, and it's you need to own the 18. I mean, you have to you have to mark the
Right.
territory out there and let people know that you can't come in my yard without my permission.
Right. And I think that builds trust. I think that's why it's so important because it builds trust with your players. They can trust to pass you back the ball. They can trust that, okay, I don't have to sprint back right now because you're gonna come out and slide on this girl 100% or, all that stuff. So I think it's very important because it builds trust not only with your back line, but with your entire team and the crowd and your coach and everyone. So
And I think it all kind of fits in with you kind of enjoying the attention and that probably didn't come out the right way, but kind of like you don't mind being everyone up in the stands is watching you in that big moment. You kind of thrive in that moment, so that kind of fits right in with that.
for sure. And I think it's taking that moment in and, looking on to the next thing. Like, okay, I just did this. Let's go on. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I'm going to go backwards a second here. So as a junior in 2018, you were recognized or earned the Suburban Council second team honor
Also,
placement. Or um, how did that affect your motivation or did that really give you a boost forward to keep pushing on, or were you like, yeah, okay, I still need to keep working, but that's cool.
I think earning it in 2018 as a junior, like that's more of a senior thing to get. But I mean, a lot of juniors and there's even been sophomores and freshmen that get it. But for me, I had been working so hard towards just trying to be the best that when that happened, I was like, I finally did it. Like I finally made it. But then I said, second string or second the section whatever section two whatever, it wasn't enough. And then the following year, I think you have that probably written, I don't know, I got the next level up, you know what I mean? It was, I forgot what it was. Does it say what it was for
Yeah,
my
but
second
was
my
it
senior
first?
year?
You got the second team in the junior year, and so I think that was first team in the senior, right? I think we lost Nick,
But
and we have Nick back. Welcome back, Nick.
oh, I'm back.
First soccer goalie, first technical glitch in one of these. That's all right. Six flawless flawless, six flawless episodes. Something had to happen. All right, so let's jump into last year.
Okay.
Speaking of validation and things that motivate you, ECC Defensive Player of the Week for October 12th of 2021. Tell me when you saw that, when you heard that, however that came about to you, how did you feel about that?
Well, that the week before, or maybe it was after, like, yeah, that week after the game, Justine and some of my other teammates were like, "You're gonna get the defensive player of the week." I was like, "No, no, 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 no." It's just basic game. Like I just made saves, whatever. And then I got it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I got it." And I was proud. I mean, it's definitely like as a sophomore in college, it was it's been a roller coaster. It was a roller coaster of a year of a season, and just the fact that I even achieved that at all was just insane. And I showed my family and my friends, and I was like, "Guys, look!" And everyone shared it, and it made me happy, and it made me very, very proud of myself. And I knew my work paid off.
Yeah, I have to say you came out on fire last year, especially early on, but certainly had a good season. How how do you feel? What was the difference between your performance, your freshman year, that first year of getting acclimated to the collegiate game, from then up to that point of the sophomore year and getting that accolade?
Well, freshman year was obviously, it was still kind of COVID year. It was right after the actual COVID year, but the following, and we didn't have a lot of games, and I was very quiet. I was not on the field. I still talked, but not the way I did last year. But I was quiet, and I just did what I did. Showed up to practice. I did okay and stuff, and I was always trying to push myself. But practice me versus game me, and that goes for any person, is a whole different thing. So in my sophomore year, I was really nervous going into school because I knew I was going to be the starting keeper because our old Maddie had left, and I never really played on the field with them, like here and there. And I had butterfingers when I played the one time. It was funny. That way I still saved it. And so I was kind of thrown out there, and I don't think people knew how I played when it was real time. And when I did, they were just like, "What?" It was crazy.
I think the difference is quiet one year to being back to your normal vocal self. I think it was all in that voice and that confidence and that being Nick.
Right. It's the confidence for sure. Like my confidence level freshman year was very low. I mean, I'm a freshman goalie. That's, whatever. And then, the following year, like I'm all the team had. That I mean, we had Maddie too, but she was a freshman, just like I was at one point, and I was the oldest. Like that's who it was. It was like, okay, Nick's going in, and everyone just had to trust me. They were forced to trust me. And I think, I had an interview last year after one of the games, and I said, as long as my team trusts me, I trust myself. So
Good words. And I think especially, I think any position in any sport, jumping up to the collegiate level is a tough adjustment. But I think maybe goalie is maybe a little tougher because it's a position of such details and like fine movements, and not that the field players aren't the same way, but it's a little different, I feel.
yeah, I mean, people say that, and I definitely believe it, and I try to say like, no, every position matters, but in the goal, you're all that's left before it's going in the net. The pressure that's put on you is immense. Like the only reason it's coming to you is because it got past everybody else. And it's not just rolling in every time, it's shots. It's yeah, little old me defending a however big a goal net is. And I mean, these shots are coming from anywhere. So it's a lot of pressure for sure. And I mean everyone's watching, and I always have the fear of messing up, but I don't know, maybe I just blank out when I play, and I just play how I practice.
Well, they say you don't rise to the occasion, you fall to the level of your training. So I think if you
For
blank
sure.
out, as you say, you probably go back to that muscle memory you work in training. Yeah, and you're
Right.
you're, you're right. You're either
Right.
you're either the goat or the goat back there. It's like you're the capital letter or the because yeah, it's hero or nothing there. Um, so the
Right.
one thing this was an interesting fact I found in researching you, and it explains why you're not very disrespectful to the authorities slash referees in our games, because it turns out you've done some refereeing yourself in the Capital District Youth Soccer League.
Oh,
So,
yes,
so
yes, I
Coach Nick,
have.
Goalie Nick, and Ref Nick. So tell me about what possibly made you interested in becoming a ref.
So I started reffing at the age of 13 years old. I started at my rec league, and in that first year, I have a picture. I'm very, very small, very small. Like I was in maybe seventh grade, maybe even sixth grade when I did this,
So who were you?
and
Were
I'm
you
refereeing like
refing
1 and 2 year olds.
males, females, boys, girls? Who were you refing?
It was a mix.
Okay.
It was I think the younger ages. No, it was like girls or boys, but they were like first and second grade. And I remember this one game. I'm okay. So also I'm a person who loves to be in charge, so that's definitely why this position attracted me. But I remember this one game, the coach was wearing a whistle, and I said, "You can't wear that. Like I'm the one who blows the whistle. If you have an issue, go ahead and run on the field. These kids are in first and second grade. I'm not gonna care. Pick them up if they're crying. I don't care. But you can't wear the whistle. You can't blow the whistle, and like that's my job." And he insisted on wearing it to the point he made me cry. Silly me. And then he got fired. So yeah,
You got him fired because you cried?
yeah. Basically, I always get my way.
Oh man, I do know. But if you start crying, I better start packing my desk.
But after that, I did it for a little bit, and it's easy money. It was easy money partially, and I just love soccer and being in charge, like I said. So then in my in 8th grade, I want to say. I started at the grassroots level and did the test and stuff like that. And every week I was doing reffing, and I loved it. I was in charge. I was doing, little kids, and then I gradually started to do older and older. Best age to do is U10 because you get paid like $60 for an hour of work. And then it kept going and going, and I got really good at it, and I got close to a lot of the refs. I worked hard. I thought to myself, maybe I can even do professional refing one day, to the point where I got to do a state cup semifinal game as an AR, and it was very nerve wracking, but I did it. It was a lot of fun. But once I hit college, I had a focus in, so kind of gave up the refing. But it was a lot of fun and hard and difficult and stressful, but it was fun.
That's really cool, and it's funny. Some of the best things I've ever done have resulted of me like really being nervous and almost to the point of not wanting to do it, and I forced myself to do it. So it sounds like that was a similar thing for you. That's really cool. State Cup,
Yeah,
big final. So you probably have some wonderful stories of some psychotic sideline behavior
of course.
on both sides of the field. Even though you experienced that, you still wanted to keep roughing.
Yeah, because even in that, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but when you have people yelling at you, you also have people who understand what you're going through. So I'd finish the game and I'd walk away with my head up, and I'd have parents come up to me and say, I don't know how you do that, but you just did amazing today. I just want to let you know that. And that happened not often, but once in a while, and it made me feel better and stuff. And the people around me, especially my mom too. My mom would come watch sometimes because she just loved watching me ref because I love being in charge. I've said this multiple times, but I'm a business major, by the way. We know this, but I'm a business major for a reason. I want to own my own business. I want to be in charge, but I also want to work with others. I like to work well with others. I like to help people understand and then also understand their side of it. So I think within it, I was also learning a lot, and I took that into all of my like business aspects and everything.
Have you formulated in your head kind of what that business you're going to own looks like and what it's doing? I mean, it's I know for sure you're going to own a business and do some kick buttery in your business as well.
Well, the big idea is to own a whole strip mall and open multiple businesses, but we're gonna start small. A hair salon, open my own hair salon, and within the hair salon, obviously I love to do hair. I want to create a hair salon that anybody can walk into, not just any hair texture that I can work with, and I want to be able to do braids, color, cuts, everything. Short hair, long hair, uh, thin hair, thick hair, every culture, every all that stuff, and then
Yeah.
and build that. And then I also want to take that and give back to certain people, like homeless shelters and stuff where they can't really get haircuts. I'd really like to, put it into there and like be able to maybe, go to different places and just do free haircuts and stuff. Just cuts, keep it simple. But within it, I want to build a culture, build a community, and then give back. So
Love it. Love
yeah.
it. Love it. Love it. I hope you make tons of money and are very successful. And I will be able to say I knew you once.
I hope so.
What about receding hair?
Oh, we'll get surgeons in on that one.
Okay, well, so one last question. This was left from the our last cast, and it actually ties in fairly well to the business talk. The question was, what skills and what attributes and what lessons have athletics taught you and are still teaching you that you think are really going to be helpful when you graduate and go off on this journey of your successful community access, give back, hair emporium?
I think athletics, it teaches so much. I think everyone at some point should, do a sport or something like that. 'Cause some people aren't inclined to do it as much, but I think it teaches a lot. It teaches patience, within individual and then with my team. I talk about patience a lot this year with myself, just taking that second to realize something and then go for it. And then also with my team, everyone's going through something differently. And, for me, like my spot is pretty secure right now, but at any point, anybody, Courtney could take my spot, anything like that. But my other teammates have a lot harder time with that because there's a lot more people aiming for that spot. So, um, I feel like with that, you just have to have patience and understanding that what they're going through and why they're stressing out and why they're angry with how they play and stuff. And then also communication. Communication is one of my best attributes, I think, because in the goal, you have to be loud and proud and right most of the time. I'm usually right most of the time, but I'm wrong too. And it's also taking ownership in when I'm wrong. So in the business world, if I make a mistake, I'm not just gonna say, "Oh, I didn't make a mistake." I'm gonna own up to it. I'm gonna do this, do that. I think that teaches that. I think it teaches so much. It teaches community again, like just wanting everyone to feel comfortable and love the sport. It also teaches love. I fall in love with soccer every single day. I fall in love with hair the more I care about it and understand other people's aspects on it, not just my own.
Love it. Amazing answer. Yeah, and I like the kind of the recognition that your spot's never guaranteed, no matter where you are. It's actually one of the things I like about goalie world too. It's like you're like frenemies almost. It's a competition to push each other. You want to see each other do good
Right,
as best you can, but there's only one spot, so it's
right,
kind of
right.
competitive friendship.
It's healthy competition.
Healthy.
That's what, a word that I made up with Maddie last year. We were always just pushing each other to be the best, and I think I'm learning to do that again this year with Courtney. With every person it's different, but when she does really well, I want to tell her. I reached out to her the other day. I said, you impressed me the other day. You did really well. Like once it's in game, like once she was in game mode, I felt like she did really awesome. And instead of being jealous and saying, "Oh, she did," I wish I, whatever. I don't know what people say because in my head, it's she did awesome, and I'm gonna tell her that. I couldn't even say something bad to say because I don't care to say something bad about others.
Yeah, right back to the beginning. Good leader, good coach. You're gonna do amazing things, Nick.
I hope so.
Hope is not a good strategy.
I will. I
That's
will.
better. I will be. So, okay, we're almost at the end here. So I'm at the end of all my questions. I know I don't prep you with anything. So what did you think I might ask that I didn't? And how would you have answered it?
Well, I think that this all ties into you. What do you like as a coach? You kind of impact us in a way. I think coaches are a big reason why people stay or leave, and coaches are a reason why you push yourself to be better. So I think asking a question of like, how have you impacted us within this year and the past years and stuff like that? I know, and I'll answer it since I'm asking it. My freshman year, obviously you weren't my coach at the time, and he was awesome and stuff. And then I heard that we were getting a new coach, and I was like, okay. And I was like feeling it out. I was like, okay, funky stuff, but then funky stuff that you're doing. But the fact that you always do something different every single day and just always and you take my anger, you take my jokes, you make it so much fun and you make it so much better. Like I want to come to practice. I want you to set up these crazy drills and I want to push myself to be the best. And even days when I'm down low, like, you and like the other whoever else is there always pushes me and you kind of work around it. You don't just say you have to do this and that's it. You always work around it and you always work with us. And I think that's important in a coach is, realizing what your player needs and not just what you want. So
Well, I appreciate that. I tell you guys all the time, my job is to help you get to where you're going. It's not about me. So that's kind of the way I approach that. And we all have
yeah.
I know you bring 100% of whatever you have that day. So I'd still rather take 100%
Yeah.
of your 90 than 90% of your 100.
Right. Right.
All right, Nick. So for whoever is next, what question will you leave them?
Can I leave him with the one I just said? Like, do you want me to word it though, like in my own way?
Oh, you so Yeah, so word that for the next one.
Okay. Let me think.
No, don't think, it's late.
You're right. It's not going any better up here trying to think like this. Maybe just like how has your coaches, whether it be present or past, impacted in the way you play or just the way you love your sport?
I love that. That's a great question. So, Nick, we're at the end.
All right.
I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on and giving me some of your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, now everyone knows just a little bit more about you.
Whole lot, a little bit.
Yep, they're all gonna be coming up. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by
And
that?
my snakes.
Oh, yes. I should have asked about the snakes. We love snakes. Hold on, hold on, hold on. It's not a real one, but I do have a little.
Oh, geez. Oh, one of those snakes.
Yeah, it's one of the. It keeps rattling when you put it down. It's kind of cool.
Hold on. Oh, you're coming with me, Longtail.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
the
we
real
just lost.
ones.
We lost 90% of our audience, so we're down to one person now. That
If
is
it's
it.
goalie audience, they can't. I mean, they gotta stay. We're
Well,
crazy enough.
he or she.
Um, this is the one that we don't know really, but I'm gonna go with he because why not?
Okay, yeah, bam. He is beautiful.
Thank you.
Maybe someday I will get a chance to hold him.
Maybe.
Sweet.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you again. I will
Thank
see
you.
you on the bus tomorrow.
Tomorrow it's game day
Game,
Eve.
game, game day Eve.
Game day Eve.
All right. Game day Eve. Later,
Game day
dude.
Eve. Bye.